The 5th episode of What If came out today, and I was quite excited for this episode. I remember seeing it in the trailer, the whole idea of having Killmonger with Iron Man, and kind of like, you take the plot of Iron Man, and then you throw Killmonger in here. But I hate to say it, I was disappointed with this episode. Now, as I've stated many times in every single one of my reviews, I'm not the biggest fan of this show. I like it, but I don't love it or anything. But I gotta say, this one is on the same level as the first episode, and I was most excited for that first episode, the whole idea with Peggy and everything, and hopefully she'll come back. I feel like she will, and they kind of improve on that more. But I have to say, I was disappointed with this episode, but I'm glad because I'm not the only one, because I know Chris from Filmstock agrees with me, and I know Josh from After Credits agrees with me. At least so far, those are the two that I've mainly seen. Not saying it's a bad episode, but I'm just saying it's definitely weaker than the last 3 ones for sure. Of course, spoiler warning as always, the episode's out on Disney Plus, so you can go check it out. But I will say this, I say this every single time I notice it, it is so obvious now when the original actors are not doing like their own voice work, and it's nice that Michael B. Jordan came back. He's one of my favorite people ever, and I like that he came back here for Killmonger. Killmonger's one of my favorite MCU villains, so it was cool to see him here. But for Iron Man, it's like, yeah, this isn't Robert Downey Jr. It kind of sounds like all those impressions you see on like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and all that. The guy kind of sounded like him. That's not like a bad thing or anything. Obviously, you can't perfect the voice of Robert Downey Jr. unless you are Robert Downey Jr., so I give him credit for doing it. But I will say, every single time it's not one of the actors coming back, it is noticeable. And here, it did take me out of some scenes, and this one was cool, but it was just so messy. That's really how I felt about this episode, because it starts off and it's got, the opening of Iron Man where they're driving out, peace, all this, and then stuff blows up. But then Killmonger comes, saves Tony, and like kind of throws him out of the way, and then starts killing everybody. And there's a good line where Tony's like, "Oh, I see where you got your name," or something, which is very Tony Stark, and I like that. Tony Stark is my favorite MCU character, so there's that. Bucky is really close behind, but still. But then as the episode progresses, it just kind of morphs a little bit into Black Panther, and it was kind of like the movie, and it was kind of like both of them put together. But it was just really weird because they killed off Iron Man, like Tony, they killed off Rhodey, they killed off T'Challa, like they killed off a bunch of main characters. And yes, Chris made a TikTok about this, but I was like thinking about this, I was like, why do they keep killing off Tony in this show? Like, it's like the 3rd time or something. We had the one in episode I think 3, then we had the zombies one last week, and now we have this one. Like they're really killing us with killing Tony literally. But that's just a little thing I noticed. But I felt like as the episode progressed, it just really didn't know where it was going, and it just kind of was like, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And yes, I get that's the point of the show. I get the whole point of the show is, what if this happened in the multiverse? So we're gonna do this. But some of the times it just got like just so messy. Like, that's really the main word I can use to describe this episode. Yes, the voice acting is good for everybody who's coming back for their roles, especially Michael B. Jordan. He's great. It is obviously so nice to hear Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. I mean, it's so nice to hear. He's not really in this episode that much, but it's really nice to see. And I have to say, probably the last scene, I think it is, in this episode where T'Challa kind of confronts Killmonger as he's becoming the new Black Panther. I thought that was probably the best episode. And yeah, that battle on Wakanda was really, really good, like animation wise. And I have to say something with the Watcher, it's just kind of weird sometimes where it'll just pan up to him and just like I don't know what it is, but like he just makes his face. I don't know what it is, but it's just kind of weird sometimes where something will happen and then it'll pan up to him. And yes, I get like the whole point of the show is the Watcher is kind of controlling everything and all that. And it's just kind of weird. For me, this wasn't the best episode. It was probably the weakest. This one or the first one, it is on the same level as the first one. I liked it enough to watch it once, but I will definitely not be rewatching this one. I did have a bunch of problems with it, and I'm interested to see when we're going to get the continuation of the zombies episode, because we all thought it would be this week, but then on Monday or whenever Marvel posts the poster and everything, whatever, we were like, oh, it's the Killmonger one, which again excited me, but then I was underwhelmed with the episode. But tell me what you think of it down below. Do you disagree with me? Do you think this one's actually really good? I know I saw like one post on Twitter that's like, this is the best one easily, and obviously I disagree. It's a good enough episode. I mean, Michael B. Jordan's great to hear. The animation is very good for the most part, and it's a fun 30 minutes, but this show really does not stick with me. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.